are FusionHaa.
Action. Go ahead, Chad.
Fusion fam, what's up?
What's going on?
Man, the interview's so nice we had to do it twice.
Only the three of us know.
That's right. That's an inside joke.
Inside joke. Yeah. Could you please introduce yourself to the people?
Yes, my name is Chuck Huber. I am a voice actor. You may know me as Android 17 or Hiei or Dr. Stein or Austria from Italia, Hiro from Shin-Chan, Kurogiri from My Hero Academia, Beast Tamer Moji from One Piece. It just goes on and on and on.
The man with many voices. True.
Yeah, man. Apparently over 285 acting credits.
That's true.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So he does homework. So
good job.
These glasses aren't for show.
Hold on. Thank you.
Oh, salud.
Oh, you got to see me sneeze on my chest.
We got to see you be human.
That's right.
Vince McMahon would not
Look
like
at
that.
me being all human. What you?
Yeah. And if you guys don't know who we are, I'm Chad.
And I'm Jeremy.
And together, this podcast, this tag team, this collective,
What?
we are FusionHaa. Bang, bang, bang.
Yes.
So, Chuck, thank you so much for doing this with us.
Yes,
we
my pleasure.
truly appreciate it.
For the second time.
Yeah.
Second time.
Yeah, so-
Do you want to explain that to them?
Oh, yeah.
We've referenced it.
Oh, yeah.
We should let them know.
So, at Bedrock Comic Con last year, we had the privilege of interviewing our good guy Chuck here. He was so gracious to let us interview him. The interview was immaculate. When I say it was so good, it was so good.
It was so good, I got nervous, man.
Yeah.
I paused a couple times. My wife was like,
Actually, this one's better already. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, yeah, because you can hear it apparently. So the interview went so well. Me and Jeremy, we're patting each other on the back. We're like, Chuck was awesome. This was great. Yeah. And then we get home to start editing. The next thing you know,
Play.
there it is. And the intro is so good. The intro is there. So we're like, oh my God, it's going to be so good. And the audio goes, and it's gone. No audio. And me and Jeremy we're just looking at each other.
We should do a bad lip reading of the
God.
interview. Oh, is that what you said?
Yeah,
That
she
would have been
swear.
funny. That would have been funny.
You want us to email you that?
Yeah. well, we might just
Email you that.
Oh, that would be. I make up some stuff.
Oh my God, today is the best
If
day.
you say so,
It's already,
got you.
You were right. This is already better. It's already better.
I told you.
We can ask the boring questions like, so, what made you think about being a voice actor? None of that. He's like, dude, blah, blah, blah. How do you do, suckers?
Oh, don't call them sucker.
I mean,
call them dickweeds. No, I'm kidding. It's just a joke.
you're not dickweeds, you're awesome.
That's right. You're all beautiful.
Yes, beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Just gorgeous. Totally gorgeous.
So, Chuck, if you could, just tell us a bit about like your upbringing and did any of that lead to you being a voice actor?
Well, I'm obviously I'm not a young man, but I'm 53. Grew up in the 70s and 80s, and in my house, we had the one phone on the kitchen wall with the long cord, and we goofed around and we joked around as brothers. I had 3 older brothers and a younger sister, and we. Anytime the phone would ring during dinner, you'd sort of race to see who could get to the phone first.
Of course.
And then it was all about who is going to make the funniest voices. Hello, you have called the garbage can, or whatever. And Mom would laugh but get angry, but laugh but get angry. It was like one of those just trying to keep her happy. And so my first acting was voice acting. It was prank calls. It was, recording yourself on, like you'd get a big deal in a kid's life is when he got a tape recorder, and they're always like this with the little cassettes that go in.
Oh, yeah.
So you could record yourself. And so a lot of the first acting I did was voice acting. As a kid. Puppet shows, voice acting.
I'm actually we first met you at Comapalooza. That was like, what,
2016?
Okay, 2016? Okay, so 2016. And I remember my wife got autograph with Sergeant Major Cooloo. And you always do this, like you take pictures with the fans and everything like that, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I never forget you grab out my wife's phone, was like you just start taking these selfies, and I still got these pictures on my phone right now to this day. How do you always stay on like that? Like every time we see you, you always on, no matter what. Even your other interviews I've seen to study you before this interview, or before the last interview, you're always on no matter what. How do you do that?
Well, have you ever dug ditches in the summertime?
I've done that once, actually.
So I've dug ditches. One of my my first jobs was filling 100 every Tuesday and Thursday. The job was a precast concrete factory, and I was low man on the totem pole. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I had to fill 2 tons of gravel into 100-pound bags and then stack them on pallets. That was my job every Tuesday and Thursday.
Jesus.
So I've had jobs that make you want to cry when you wake up in the morning and you're like, I can't do it. I can't do another day of this. And now this is my job. So like if you can't nut up for this job, you probably haven't worked hard in your life. Because like if you've ever worked hard in your life and then you show up to a convention where people expect you to do some funny voices and goof around and they tell you you're awesome, and if you're having a hard time with that,
You've done nothing.
Go home.
Just go home. If you're having a hard time, and everybody has off days. There's sometimes you have an off day at a convention, terrible family stuff going on, and you're just not with it. But generally speaking, most voice actors I know how lucky we are. So everybody brings the heat when we get to the convention, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So speaking of the conventions, how do you typically find your convention experiences? Because like Jerry said, you're always on. You always have a line at your table of people that are just so happy and willing to see you. How does that make you feel? And also, when people tell you that, hey, Chuck, you voiced Android 17, like you're part of my childhood.
Yeah. It's wild because there are voices from my childhood, Bugs Bunny, all the Looney Tunes stuff, like those guys, are the voices of my childhood. And then eventually sometimes we get to, I'm a guest with them somewhere, and that freaks me out a little bit. Ren and Stimpy was a huge show to me, and when I guest with Billy West, it's like, wow. It's incredible. I'm like, I am a fan of yours. And he's like, yes, I know you are. And I was like, all right. But yeah, I mean, the fans, you guys built this fandom. If it weren't for how rabid the tiny group of anime nerds were back in the 80s.
Right.
If they weren't just like, this is amazing. And what it was people flipped out over a Japanese art form. Little smart, nerdy kids were like, I get it. And and they were like, I want my other friends to. So you had to like hide, secretly look at anime with your friends and not tell anyone, because otherwise you're a nerd. But nowadays, everybo's a nerd. Like the world's run by nerds. So we've
definitely a different time.
Totally different. So that's where that came. I'm not sure if I answered the question, but I think I did.
You answered it.
I thought I did.
So, okay, speaking of doing voice acting and, just all the acting type stuff.
Yeah.
The last time we talked, you said you did some writing, because I was like, yo, I love Sergeant Frog. You said, yeah, you helped write Sergeant Frog.
I did.
Yeah, which is baller. And what did you always want to write, and when did you start writing?
I started writing pretty early, 3rd, 4th grade, 5th grade, started writing stories and coming up with ideas. And I did all the way through high school. I was mostly bad poetry in high school. And then in college, I started writing some features, narratives. Actually, in college, I started with a novel, and I wrote about 280 pages of a novel, and this is when computers were new, and my wife cleaned the hard drive so that it would be clean. She thought she was defragmenting the hard drive, but she wiped it, and I'm an idiot, so I didn't have a backup.
No floppy disk, huh?
No floppy disk. I didn't have it on the
Google floppy disk.
and it's gone. I have like 6 pages of it, and I kind of remember. I mean, I do remember what it was about, and and there's part of me that's like, I want to write that story someday. But I think I'm taking elements of it and adding them to this limited. No, I don't think it's a limited series. I think it's a regular series, and it's a series called Ice.
Ice, ooh, okay.
Which is British military and pirates chance meet on an island helping save victims of a hurricane.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And in the they kind of call a truce while they're helping the victims of the hurricane. Then the pirates shenanigans and get out before, and then the British are chasing them, and they chase them through this. And this is very far south of New Zealand, and they chase them. It's an island outside what's called Buwabara, which is an opening in the ice ring, in the infinite plane. And so they're going through this opening, and they get flash frozen together, but one of the ships is still above water, and the other one is frozen in the water, and so they have to work together, and they're staying in the ship that's above the water, and these nomadic tribes from the infinite ice plane come and attach runners to the ship so that it can slide across the ice. And Star Trek-like, it goes from, because the theory of like the infinite ice plane would be like, this circle here is an earth pool, and there's infinite numbers of earth pools out there, and so they glide across the ice and they land in these new worlds and sail around. So it's essentially Star Trek on the
You're right.
Yeah.
Holy.
So that's just like your original like work. That is amazing.
Golly.
Yeah.
Got a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's all world building.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then I'm producing a film called Mud Life, which is West Side Chicago, but it's based on a short called Broke Down Drone, which you guys just Google Broke Down Drone short film.
Okay.
And check it out. It's it's like Boys in the Hood for Chicago West Side. Nobody's told that sort of Chicago West Side story, so and that's where I'm from, Chicago. I worked a lot on the West Side, and Willie Round and Gary Mills, but two Emmys each are the writers, and we're producing it together, the three of us. Should be awesome.
Dang.
Should be amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what led you? Well, not what led you to voice acting, but what was your very first voice acting role, other than answering the phone?
I was at an agency in Chicago that was a very well-respected voiceover agency, so I did a lot of voiceover early in my career. The very first voice acting gig I booked was for Aero the Acrobat.
I love that
Yeah,
game.
Nintendo. So my line was Aero the Acrobat on Nintendo. Bite me, or something like that.
That was you?
That was me. I said bite me. And it was like
amazing.
30 minutes in the booth, and that was it. I was just ready to rock and roll. But my first anime role was in Dragon Ball Z. I got cast as Garlic Jr., but they also cast me as his henchman, Mustard. Oh, I'm Mustard. And so we did that role first. So technically, the very first anime role I ever did was Mustard.
Okay.
Wow, okay. And once again, we mentioned this last time, but I gotta bring it back. So, which one you prefer? Would you prefer doing voice acting for anime or voice acting for video games?
Well, video games pay better in the booth.
Okay.
But anime, it's better stories. Well, not better stories, but the anime fandom, it kind of blends together. I'd say anime. I'm going to go with anime.
I think anime is probably the more comprehensive story, but the video games are like based off the anime.
Video games, let's face it, video games have won. We're going to discover this is a video game, but like video games gross more than like all sports combined. All movies combined. Like, I mean, I just keep tapping and no menu screen pops up, but I want to.
One day you're gonna find out.
I want to hack this thing, man.
You're gonna find it.
Is it more hard? Is it more work on video games or is it more work on anime?
Video games are definitely harder. Video games, they'll have like 3 sheets of Excel, spreadsheets with like.
So that's where the BGM menu comes from in the video games.
Go ahead, Jay. I'm telling you, that was funny.
So, with voicing Garlic Jr., Mustard, and Android 17, Android 17 really got a lot of shine in Dragon Ball Super.
Yes.
Really a lot of shine. Like, how did you feel seeing that, having him come back and get that shine? Because I feel like in Dragon Ball Z, like, he was a really good character.
Yeah.
And then Cell with the.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm like, oh, come on.
I was so mad.
He did shine.
Yeah,
That fight with Piccolo.
Oh,
fight with
easily
Piccolo's
one of the
Yeah.
best fights in Dragon Ball.
For
Like,
sure.
hands down, one of the best fights. I was just watching it probably like 3 weeks ago. I was like, dang, this fight was really good.
Yeah, you see the fist go right
so
through
good.
him.
Yes, all the way
Damn.
through.
Yeah, I was like, gee.
Back in the day, they weren't kind to us. They were like, "Yeah, man, come on in. Let's do your session." And you're doing your session. You're like, "What? I'm dead." They're like, "Yeah, you're dead."
Also, you wouldn't know ahead of time. You
No, they never told you ahead of time. They just let you discover that you've done working for the month.
Could you
Aw,
imagine
man.
like finding out you're getting sucked up by some alien's tail? Like,
Reverse
bug
poop.
monster, dude. What the hell?
Oh, you're constipated with me.
yeah.
Jeez.
But how was it having Android
Super.
17? Yeah, how was it having them come back and get that shine?
So the first inkling that, because we didn't know how the properties worked or how popular anime was going to be, and we never. There was no concept of rebooting anything,
Yeah.
and then except Kai. Kai was like, "Oh, okay, well they're redoing that because
Yeah.
it's they're making it more kid friendly or whatever," and so that it kind of was like, "Oh wow, we're doing this again. That's weird." And then the first inkling that something different was going on was Battle of the Gods, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Pilaf's coming back?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "That's so weird. I haven't done him in years, a decade or whatever." And suddenly, and it premiered, and it got loved, and it was like breaking records, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And then Super happened, and we watched Super unfold in the Japanese first, and so I'd sort of watched the fans' reactions on Twitter, and when. Spoiler, when Android 17 died, he doesn't die. Seeing the whole world react like, no!
Yeah.
People like slamming things on the ground, people like crying and weeping. That 17 was gone. I was like, holy man, that's awesome. And I think the only thing I tweeted was like, oh, goodbye Android 17. Of course it is anime, and I didn't know he was coming back. I thought, well, I guess that's it for Android 17. I really didn't think it. And then when he came back, I was like, all right.
He's like, I got some work.
Game on.
Oh man, what was it? What was that story, Dorothy? What was that story your favorite story? Break it up, come on.
Your bank story.
The bank story. Was it the bank robbery story?
Yeah, we're talking about you being
Your alternate job.
The alternate job. That
What will be your other job other than being an awesome voice acting?
Back in the day.
And you chose bank robber, so please.
Oh, no,
story
not bank robber, art thief.
Oh, art thief.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You
I
told us
would've
that funny story. We have to hear that again.
been- What about which story?
Your idea of like,
Stealing?
Yeah.
About when I was planning to steal?
yeah.
I did not commit a felony.
He didn't, by the way.
All I did was plan a felony. When you're poor, this is when you're poor and you have a lot of kids and they're like, Dad, we're hungry. And you're like, I'm tired of being poor. And you're working in a bank. That's where the bank, not robbing, but it was robbing a bank, but it was an art thief.
Okay, got
I
it,
was
got it.
stealing art I didn't steal art.
He did.
He had to stole the art.
So this bank had all these Andy Warhol prints, and I was like, those got to be expensive. And you look it up; those are $13,000 each, or whatever, and they're $30,000 each. But then in the lobby of this, I was doing a job. I was doing construction, and we were replacing painting and caulking and replacing all the tiles on like 4 floors of this bank. So I was after hours in the bank for like 3 months.
Wow.
And I was the superintendent, so I wasn't doing the work most of the time. I was just the one who opened the bank and had the key card and let the workers in, and then I would kind of fall asleep in the lobby for a little bit because I was working days and nights. It was a 114-hour week 1 week.
Golly.
Yeah, because I was working days and nights. It's horrible. Like I said, when I get to a convention, I'm like, this is nothing. But so I'm sitting in that bank and I'm thinking about being an art thief because I was like, I'm poor, and didn't want to be poor anymore. And in the lobby, there was a Mesoamerican statue, and I kind of got it appraised. I first planned how I would do it. I was going to make a replica of it. We bring these carts in. I was going to have the replica on the bottom of the cart. I was going to stop, do the just in case there weren't cameras on the second floor lobby of the Bank of America in North Dallas. Anyway,
scoping up the joint, scoping out the joint. I should say.
I hope my friend Mark isn't watching this because he was my boss. But anyway, so I was going to take just swap the statues out because nobody would be like. Yeah. And so you go through that whole process overnight. You're a little loopy anyway. But then I knew I was like, oh shit, I'm not just pretending anymore. Because I was asking my friend who was an art person. I was like, so theoretically, how would you? And then once she gave me just the slightest pushback on how it would be hard to sell, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing it. What am I doing? I'm going to end up with a felony for stealing a stone frog. Because I thought, well, if you go to jail, going to jail for being an art thief is kind of like,
when you drink water, you
probably go to the Fed, man.
Get that Jello with a pinky up. Yeah, so I could have been an art thief. That would have been something. And the other thing I wanted to do was corporate espionage, where I'd be like, I'd get a job as a data entry person someplace, but then try to break into shit. I thought that would be fun because you could do your job kind of poorly. You don't want to be too good, you don't want to be too bad, but you don't need to last there forever. You just try to get some
get the info and get on out.
Yeah. There was a lot of jobs I considered when I was poor. There were during when we had all the troops over in the sandbox over there. There were truck drivers, and I was like, well, let me get my license and maybe go, because it was like 6 months, $140,000. You might die.
There you go.
I was like,
they ain't there no more.
So I've
contemplated cheap.
You did it. You did it.
I did it on the cheap. I was a soldier.
Government.
Yeah.
Government salary. Thank you. I would have been rich driving my truck.
Oh man, that's so funny. So let's talk about some Yu Yu Hakusho. I think Yu Yu Hakusho is probably the most complete anime that has ever existed, like from start to finish. It is like buttoned up, tied up in a nice, neat little bow. And you play Hiei.
Yes.
One of the coldest characters in anime history, by the way.
Super cold.
So what was the process, like the audition process for auditioning for Hiei, and what did Yu Yu Hakusho mean to you?
The auditions for so Yu Yu Hakusho was the first big property we got after the Dragon Ball properties. And so everybody knew this was the next big thing, and we were starting to see mostly what we cared about rules back then were line count, because that meant more money. There weren't really conventions or anything, so it was really about getting one of the lead roles, and like you could bank an extra $700, $800, sometimes $1,200 a month.
Dang.
Just doing voice work. And as an actor, that was huge back then. Not huge, but I mean, it would definitely make your month better. Of
course.
Because you're like, I got my regular gigs and then this gravy on the top. So if you got a lead role, it was important. And I auditioned for all the roles, and then I knew they were recording it, and I hadn't heard anything, and I was like, I thought for sure I was going to get something.
Oh man.
And then about 4 weeks later, because they give the directors scripts in these 4-week chunks. So here's 4 episodes, work on it for a month. And Hiei's not in the first 4 episodes. So it wasn't until the second month that they called me and they're like, "You're coming in." I was like, "Yes." I didn't care. I didn't care who I was at that point. I was just happy to be part of the show, part of the main cast.
Speaking of roles, back when this was a thing, Death Battle. I read that you was Tony Stark.
Yeah.
How did it even just been thrust upon you?
I have no idea. I really have no idea.
Really?
They called me out of the blue and they were like, "We'd like you to be Tony Stark." And you know, they knew I was older, so they're like, "Do you know what YouTube is?"
Why
Why you gotta
Hold
do
on,
that?
that was
to
like a
me?
couple years back. You did it, acting like that, so you do. God,
But they, you know, they were humble, and we're you know, Death Battle, and I don't know if you've heard of us. And I was like, yeah, I know what Death Battle is. And they were like, do you want to be Tony Stark? I was like, oh hell yeah, I want to be Tony Stark.
Tony Stark.
That
You
is-
can put that on
that is
credits now. like,
And that
Tony
was
Stark.
and that was my first time on a popular YouTube show, and they, you know, said, hey, it's gonna, you know, it'll post at this time, and it posted, and I watched it go from like, you know, it's just sitting there hitting refresh, and you know, because your normal stuff, you don't know how many people are watching,
Yeah.
and with YouTube, you go 50,000 views. 125,000, 270,000 views.
Oh,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
500,000 in the 1.5 million.
Yeah.
1.5 million people have just this moment listened to me.
Yeah.
I should have been casting some spell at that point.
Yeah.
I will go in the past and
Yeah.
cast it.
Do it.
Tonight, with the eye of the hurricane that is upon us.
I'm gonna see you on the middle of the street just.
That's right.
Speak like magical mumbo jumbo.
Oh my God. So you said you watched Death Battle. You see?
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite like Death Battles?
Mine.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
of course.
Yeah, and there was Sasuke versus Hiei.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That's
That
the
was a
other
good
one I looked
That's
at.
technically yours too. I mean,
Yeah, I
you
know.
know.
They couldn't have me do it.
Yeah. Oh.
Ooh.
They can't. I don't know why. I think they would. Yeah,
It's a property.
because they gotta.
Yeah.
They can't. It's got to be parody. And if I'm there, it's not
Nah, it's
parody.
not parody.
Oh, okay. It is.
Okay.
Because Funimation at the time, they're like, hey, Chuck, we got to talk.
Yes.
We need to get some bread about you or somebody. We're going to get that. You hear me?
They get the rev.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They need it.
Man, you powered my household. You know that, right? Because you're freaking Sergeant Major Koolaloo. You, what was the Irish guy on Borderlands 2? You played him.
Mick Safford.
There you
Go get them whole dunks and beating them. Yeah,
Yeah, because me and my wife played the hell out of Borderlands 2.
it's a good game.
Damn right. Damn right.
You excited for the movie?
You know what?
We'll see. We'll
You know what?
You see my wife? I mean, you know,
They've
same
done
way.
pretty okay with like these movies lately.
They're getting better.
So I'm gonna give.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a little hope. Give
Even the Yu Yu Hakusho live action
Yeah,
wasn't terrible.
they actually
good.
was.
It was
I really
good.
enjoyed
It was
it.
good.
I was gonna ask you how you felt about that. So
Loved it. Did not like I thought Hiei's character design. I wanted him to be darker. He was a
Yeah.
little too.
Yeah.
He was a little too bright. I pictured him a little grittier, a little darker. He was a little too clean and put together.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But still very good. The actor was very good. So.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. That show, that it was actually a lot better than I thought it was gonna
Yeah.
be.
No, they did a good job.
Yeah, they did a really.
As soon as I saw that opening, I was like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
you
the
guys
first
know what
fight
you're doing.
Yeah. How do you feel about the change in story? Because the story changed a bit.
Well, I literally I didn't watch the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
I poked into it and I was
Okay,
like just
gotcha,
making sure
gotcha.
that the love was
They-
there,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you know checked out Hiei a little bit, and I was like, all right.
yeah.
You know, checked out Hiei a little bit, and I was like, all right, that's good.
Okay, like we're good.
But yeah, people told me they compressed it a bit.
Don't worry, camera 2. Camera 2.
So, do you have like a character that you would like to voice or play that you haven't done yet? Because you've been in the game for a while. I'm sure you've seen a lot of anime come and go, or maybe even stuff that haven't come out yet. Do you have any characters that you would like to voice?
You know, I think I could do a great Sherlock Holmes.
Oh.
If there was a Sherlock Holmes anime, I think that could be mine. Pretty much anything with a British dialect, I would enjoy. Or perhaps maybe a Scottish dialect. I enjoy doing dialect work. It's one of the things that intrigues me. Or Russian, I could be. Russian, I could be Russian spy, maybe. I like doing dialects, so dialect work would be fun.
You know. Because remember the last time, how we got this interview started, when we seen you at Nerd Boulevard. Shout out to Nerd Boulevard.
Nerd Boulevard is awesome. Nerd Boulevard.
You were showing me how to do that. Where'd you get that from? I mean, obviously you went to acting school, am I right?
Yes, but no, but yes. Yeah, it's funny because I was so good. We were all good mimics, and so we'd mimic Monty Python or whatever, and we used to. I mean, like Monty, to give you an idea of how hard it was, children. Monty Python. So there's no VHS tapes, no DVD. There was no, okay, VHS tapes and DVDs are these products that you put into, never mind. So pretend streaming service is, anyway. To watch Monty Python, it was on at 11 o'clock at night on Sunday on like the PBS, channel or the one of the UHF channels, I can't remember. But to get it, we had to sneak the black and white TV out of the closet downstairs up to my brother John's room with tin foil attached to where the broken antenna was. And I would have to hold on to the tinfoil and stick my hand out the window so my brother could watch it, and I could watch it like this. So my job was to be a human antenna.
Did your brother ever be the antenna?
Shout out to my brother John. No, he was never the antenna. I was always the only antenna. But yeah, so we do dialects all the time, and it became a thing where you try to, you know, be better than your brothers. There's a lot of good competition between me and my brothers, and so I credit my brother John, who was the best at doing dialects. He did a good job teaching me for sure.
Yeah, okay, shoot.
Yes.
It's funny because we're the last of the Mohicans of all the technology you're talking about.
Because
we're the last ones to understand everything.
We understand it all.
We remember
You saw it as it faded into the distance.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Don't worry, this hurricane will have us back there. Stone Age Houston, it'll be great.
Yeah. So Chuck, you have a moment in your career that brings you like extreme pride.
Ooh, wow.
Extreme pride.
You just look at it, you're like, I did that.
You mean like the work I've done?
It could be the work you've done, or just.
I don't know. I don't feel. I feel satisfied with my work. I don't feel a lot of pride.
Okay.
I am probably most proud of it. When I am proud of things, it is usually internal, to do with me. Like I'm proud of learning a lesson that I could tell I'd been repeating for years and years and years, and then you suddenly are like, wait a minute, I don't need to do this, and you're not a nice person, you're a horrible person. I don't have to try to get you to love me. I can just walk away from you. And then it's like, oh wow, I learned a thing, and then you're like, my life feels better all of a sudden.
You're such a sage, man.
Yeah.
Damn,
That was some sage advice.
Yeah.
Man. That was great.
We sage our house all the time.
Yep.
Smoke it out.
Boom. I like how you did that.
I did.
Can I say something?
I don't know.
Congratulations again
Thank you.
for your newborn baby.
I have a baby. I have a new
Yeah,
6-week-old baby at home.
6 weeks?
6 weeks.
Oh,
Yep.
damn.
People say, don't you know how that happens? And I say, I look in the mirror every morning. I know how it happens.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop.
Hey.
Yay, there it
You
is.
see it. You see it.
You see him? He out here.
Look,
Can't holler at him because, you know,
Yeah,
he's
he's
married.
taking-
He's a happy
taking
kid.
right.
He's a happily married man.
that's right.
Yeah.
Just donate some money to him, though.
That's right.
For diapers and bottles.
Actually, I am running a charity at Brittany's Smile. Give tax-free. Brittany's Smile. She's my guest handler. She started as a nervous fan who was sort of homebound, and she made it to a convention. And I kind of did job, helped her figure out to make plushies at my table. And she needs a bunch of dental work, so I'm doing a charity to try to raise money for her.
That is really nice of you.
Yeah.
Good
That's
man.
cool.
You're a good man.
It's
You're a
you,
good
man.
So I have one more question.
right.
So, like I said, you've been doing this for a really long
Yeah,
time.
you have.
What?
That's his way of saying I'm very old.
So, what do you want, as far as your message to be to the people that come to these conventions and your fans? What do you want your message to be?
Freaking Barbara
With
Walters over here.
With everything. Jesus Christ. Well,
It's
yes,
amazing.
Chuck. Yes, Chuck. What do you want your message to be to the fans?
My message. I mean, I would say the fans have a message for me because the fans. So I always feel a great obligation to be present for them, but they are the ones who created this environment where you're at an anime convention, and a good example, there was a karaoke and someone was, special needs, and they got up to do karaoke, and the song was playing, and they kind of must have got nervous and couldn't get the words out and kind of thought they were doing it, and then by the end of it, the whole audience is singing with him, and he's not, and then his voice starts to come out, and then he finishes, and it's standing ovation, and everyone's cheering for him. Like that's what happens here at anime conventions. So like, that's the message of the anime. I mean, like that's what we do. We're just like, everybody's cool, so long as you're, just love anime. That's all anybody cares about,
That's dope.
So it's very good.
Wow.
Cause I want to ask you about comedy, but then never mind. You said something so beautiful. Jeez. Ask him.
Ask him about what?
So Bradley Smith,
Yes.
AKA Combo Panda, said,
Yes.
funny SOB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said you did a set out there, and he said he was like, he might be a little reserved, but he said you came out, bow, both barrels. You were
Listen.
talking about the comic book nerds, the anime nerds and all that stuff. And I was like, word!
Yeah, so I did
man.
did a comedy night. I forget what he calls it, otaku comedy night or nerd comedy. I can't remember. Bradley, I'm sorry.
all good.
It's in Houston. You'll see it. Nerd night. I can't remember what it's called.
I'll look it up when I
Yeah, it'll be right here on the screen.
right there.
But yeah, he said, "Do you want to come out and do a signing to help promote the show?" I said, "Yeah," and I said, "I can get up and do 3 minutes." And he's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got."
Yeah.
Because it's something we all we love performing, and that's just one other way to perform, and. So I did it, and it was I get to check it off my list. It was something I always wanted to do, and then I did it. So now I got it at 3 minutes. It's now maybe 3.5, 4.
Oh, sweet.
Wait, you've never done that before?
Comedy? No.
It's a different art style,
No,
bro.
well, no, I know, but I'm saying,
Well,
but
this guy,
for
right?
you to have like 3 minutes, and I'm sure, and he probably said did a great job.
Yeah, he
So,
bragged
wow,
about you.
that's impressive.
He bragged about you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
He really
good.
did,
That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
Dang.
Because I'm amazing.
There it is.
He's amazing. He is amazing. Chuck, thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
This was great. This was so much fun.
We should really, if I'm being honest, we should really pause and check the sound, make sure we got it.
Yeah.
I'm only kidding.
Oh wait, just go.
Trust me. Hey, I'm gonna have him send me the files. I can connect both tapes, and then I gotta this time. I backed it up. I
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah.
I gotta
We're
punctuate that.
we are
I'm gonna be
beyond
watching.
prepared.
I'm watching wrestling tonight just to get that video. Hi guys, this video right here from this freaking microphone to sync is gonna be a minute.
It'll
2
be
plus 2 will equal 4 when this
We're
is over.
done. I promise you.
Or maybe 5. I don't know.
92.
Thank
That's
you,
okay.
Terrence.
Yeah.
So I got you this time. I got you.
deal.
Because time is precious, and I don't want to take your
is.
time.
It is.
You know. Not
But
just
this
how
is
we
fun.
done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We
you
don't
guys
want to
are
take your
great.
time.
Yeah.
So tell everybody in the world, in internet land, where they can find you.
Chuck_Huber on Twitter, Chuck Huber on Instagram. I don't know, Facebook. I don't know Facebook anymore.
I got you.
Facebook's for old people.
Yeah.
I got you. It's gonna be somewhere.
And TikTok, Android Huber on TikTok.
Oh, okay, you're on the tick of the talk. Okay.
Yeah, my wife made me do it.
Yeah. Are you doing any dances on there or voice acting?
No, I've done some of the trends though. Did some of the
voice actor. So
Yeah, I haven't
I'm
done
a
the voice actor trend.
So
I haven't
of
done
course,
that one yet.
Oh, you have to.
I know.
You have to
so
do
much
that.
work. You have to think, and you got to find all those
I feel you.
clips. I just want to lay down and do nothing.
I feel you.
Not really.
Oh man. Well, you can find us at FusionHaa Podcast. We're on everything: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, X if you're nasty. You can like, share, subscribe to our YouTube. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Goodbye.
And goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye. This is Fraser Cranz signing off.
Yes, Fraser Crane signing off. Niles.
Oh my god.
Yo, they ever do like a freaking? Well, they did Good Times, but
Yeah, no.
they
we
should
don't
do a
talk- we don't
Frasier.
talk
Yeah,
about
we'll
good times. We don't talk about
Frasier
good times.
cartoon.
Yeah, that would be
You
great.
should be
Y'all,
on.
you
That'd be
can
good.
do it.
Dr.
Frasier.
Frasier Crane. I'm listening. Oh man, hell yeah!
Oh my
Your lips to God's ears.
Yes, sir.
Put it in production.
Please and thank you. Yes, yes.
Yes. Well, once again, Chuck, thank you so
Yes.
much
My
for
pleasure.
doing this. I'm Chad.
And I'm Jeremy.
And this is the FusionHaa podcast, and we're out.
Stop. And this is
I'm sorry. And this
freaking
is
Hubert.
That's right.
Man,
Damn.
I'm sorry.
You off today? It's a hurricane. I get it. It's a hurricane. We're blaming the hurricane. Don't worry about that. That's not
It's like, oh my God. And okay, apparently we're gone. We're FusionHaa podcast, and we're out.
Ha!
Fetch, Nina, fetch.